Man loves to meddle with the natural order. Weird science has already given us hybrids like the geep, half goat, half sheep, plus the mouse with a human ear grown on its back. But now, there's a new hybrid, an automotive one, the Toyota Prius. Not content with ordinary internal combustion, this Japanese spec Prius is the world's first production car that uses both petrol and electricity. No, don't turn over. I'm with you. The very mention of electric or zero-emission cars makes me want to go and have a little lie down. They're as much fun as being force-fed with warm marshmallows, but this is different. It'll do 90 miles an hour, 80 to the gallon, and kicks out the exhaust emissions of a buttercup. Plus, unlike most other visions of the future, it doesn't look like an old shoe. Beneath that pert bonnet, there's both a lightweight 1.5-litre engine and an electric motor, which is powered by nickel hydride batteries that sit discreetly behind the rear seats. All of which means the weird beards in their open-toed sandals are going to love it. Listen to this. Or rather don't, because it's as quiet as a church mouse in Hush Puppies. This is how it works. If, as they do in Japan, you spend all your driving at a miserable glacial walking pace, then you use your battery and your electric motor. But if you need a little bit more urge, and I use the word urge in its loosest possible sense, you depress the accelerator and the mighty 58 brake horsepower of the petrol engine cuts in. But where this car's green credentials really come into play is when you come to a stop. The whole shooting match shuts down, at which point there are daisies and daffodils and begonias coming out of your exhaust pipe. To start it again, you simply push the throttle and off you go, making this car cleverer than Wittgenstein. The Prius's onboard brain uses the petrol engine when it's at its most efficient, and at the same time the engine power is being recycled to charge the batteries. And that means that there's no onerous plugging in to be done when you get home. And that's not all. Because it's not the lumpen, leaden slouch you'd expect. Up to about 60 miles an hour, it can keep pace with normal traffic. You could almost call it business-like. The upper register of its performance takes a little bit longer, but here we are, 75 miles an hour, 80, 82, 83, 87, 90 miles an hour. As compromises go, this is the best yet. The Prius might be cheap to run, but it won't be cheap to buy. When a slightly modified version is launched here next year, it'll cost somewhere between 15 and 20 grand, which I reckon is rather a lot. So this Toyota is a thoroughly intelligent car and the best green motor car I've ever driven. But that doesn't mean to say I have to like it. Sure, it's very sweet and it's going to become frightfully trendy, guaranteed to break the ice at parties, you'll be the talk of the bottle bank. But if that's the future, if it's all the same to you, I'd rather enjoy the present for a little bit longer. Thanks ever so much. No batteries in this.
Volkswagen is a company that likes to put itself about. In 1969, it bought Audi. In 1986, it bought Seat, and 1990 saw the arrival of Skoda. But in 1998, they went completely bonkers and bought 3 more companies. Bentley, Bugatti, and, oh, where is it? Silly me, Lamborghini. So what does this mean for one of the world's smallest yet most charismatic car makers? With Audi, Seat and Skoda, Volkswagen has created 4 ranges of cars using a lot of the same bits, but surely they can't do this with Lamborghini as well. Will the replacement to the Diablo be based on a Volkswagen Lupo? And will the spiritual successor to the Countach and the Miura share the same underpinnings as a Skoda? Perish the thought. Ferruccio Lamborghini was a tractor maker who wanted to make helicopters, but the government wouldn't give him a license. So he decided to have a go at making cars instead and built himself a factory at Sant'Agata near Bologna. His first effort, produced in 1964, was pretty impressive. The 350 GT, styled by Touring. Greatness was but 2 years away. The car that really lit the blue touch paper for Lamborghini was the Miura. It made its debut at Geneva in 1966, and its transverse mid-engine layout was revolutionary. At a stroke, it made Ferrari look dated. The Miura begat the Countach in 1974. That car was replaced by the Diablo in 1990. But while the machines have always been thrilling, the company has changed hands at an alarming rate. No fewer than 7 owners in 51 years. In 1996, Vittorio De Capua, fresh from 40 years with Fiat, took the helm. Cost-cutting and restructuring put the company back in the black in 1997. Then Volkswagen president Ferdinand Piëch bought Lamborghini and gave it to Audi to look after. Hence the new look in the director's car park.
Lamborghini is a small entity, but it's very famous, it's very important, and represent a lot in the evaluation of Italian culture. It's an expression, it's a legacy, it's a value. And Audi has been dramatically welcomed by the unions, by all the people, and we believe that has been also very useful for Audi. Lamborghini is the expression of 4 centuries of Italian culture. The people buy Lamborghini with the same spirit, with the same feeling, with someone could buy Picasso or Caravaggio or Bellini or Tiepolo.
So Lamborghini has followed Ferrari, Jaguar and Aston Martin into the ranks of specialist car makers to be bought by the big boys. But it seems that Audi has no intention of changing the essential character of the Italian marque. And the core of that character is a truly exotic car built painstakingly by hand. In Britain, Toyota produces 750 cars every 24 hours. In Italy, Lamborghini makes just one, and when you look around the factory, it's easy to see why. Apart from the body and the engine castings, there isn't much that Lamborghini doesn't make itself. Each Diablo takes 500 hours to build, and no one seems to be in a rush. New models are on the way, a Super Diablo next year and a smaller car within the next 2. The factory's had a lick of paint and is about to be expanded. This is the restoration centre that Lamborghini is building to cater for the estimated 7,000 cars which are still in existence. And within 2 years, this will be the factory where the new baby Diablo will be built. But in the meantime, there's this, the latest 530 brake horsepower version of the Diablo, as revised last year. Lamborghini may have never matched Ferrari for motorsport credibility, but as a road-going supercar, it has all the presence and performance you could ask for. That surprised me after starting up the 5.7-litre V12 was how small the steering wheel is and how close together the pedals are, and it all seems to be offset to the right. But turn those 18-inch tyres and everything seems to fit perfectly. Boot it and you'll reach 60 miles an hour in 3.9 seconds, which is pretty astonishing. But what really winded me was the grunt mid-range in second gear. Oh, and it just seems to want to go on and on and on. Massive brake discs counteract the extra grunt, and you don't need bigger biceps to turn the surprisingly light steering, even when parking. This is one of the few cars I've ever driven that I have to give total respect to. Unless you're one of the most amazing drivers, then you will reach your limits way before the car will ever reach its, partly due to its very tractionable four-wheel drive system. This is one mad, bad, wild machine. I'd always thought that Lamborghinis were a bit, well, a lot on the brash side, and they are. But I have to say, I'm really taken by the cars and the company. The Diablo is a true exotic, closer almost to a speedboat than a car, and with absolutely ferocious performance. If Audi can help to keep things this way, it will only be good news. When you see the pride that goes into making these cars here at St Agatha, you can only hope that Audi won't grab the bull by the horns, but allows the company to continue producing unique, glamorously styled beasts, because the world needs dream cars. The world needs Lamborghinis.
I'm Jay, and this is what I do for a day job.
He's the front man for rock band Jamiroquai. All his videos seem to have cars in them, and now he fancies himself as a Top Gear presenter, and he's even nicked my crew.
Top Gear have given me the chance to drive this superb twin-supercharged Aston Martin V600 monster, and I'm going to thrash it to within an inch of its life.
Cut! Cut! Get Needell now!
Look, Jay, I'm sorry about this. Look, your reputation precedes you. I mean, you have written off your Lamborghini, haven't you?
I didn't write the Lamborghini off. It's unjustified, my reputation. I'm a good driver. I'm not
You've been banned
I
for
got a
driving?
couple of speeding tickets. That was it.
Well, all right, but nevertheless, I think we're going to have to check out your driving before we let you loose in this Aston, and something a little less powerful, perhaps. In fact, look, just the car over there. All right then, Jay. We'll take the Lotus. So, just drive as you normally would, Jay. I'll just see what it's like and just,
Now, come on, Mother.
Another corner coming up here, Jay. Are you in control? Up to the top, it's staying third, turning early there, nice. Feed the parent over the hill, just lift, keep it balanced. Don't upset the apple cart. Now, power, progressive, good. Not that Jay needed much encouragement to plant his foot to the floor and unleash the full 350 horsepower of the latest version of the V8 Esprit. You enjoy your driving, don't you, Jay?
I do like a little tipple.
And I have to confess, you're not that bad at it. Now with those brakes, I mean, when you go on them, but just as you get towards turning in, just bleed off the brakes. Try not to jump off them. That's nice, so it doesn't unsettle the front end.
Right, gotcha.
Apart from going at it like a bull in a china shop, Jay had most things under control, and not even the descending fog could dampen his enthusiasm as he roared around Cadwell Park with not a groupie in sight. Or at least, none that you would like to meet after the show.
I can't see, Tim. Look, my windscreen's misted up, it's foggy, and we're going over a blind crest at 120.
Right. Right, so this one just down just in a bit early, eh? So you're a bit snappy, that's feeding in. On the racetrack, it's like weight distribution. If you imagine you want to move the weight around onto the four tyres as progressively and as smoothly, so you try and turn in. It's really doing everything progressively is what you look for in a racetrack. After a few laps, Jay was really starting to get the flow from corner to corner, but there was still the occasional return to his bad habits. A bit of aggression there, I think. If we can just tease a bit of that aggression off.
I shall remain calm at all times.
I'm enjoying
Can't
this.
speak.
Look, I'm relaxed. The man knows what he's doing. Oh, don't speak too soon, Tim. But overall, I was happy. Right then, well, you better go and carry on with your new job as a Top Gear presenter with the Aston, I guess.
That would be so much fun, Tim.
But then, like so many others who've just passed their test, Jay seemed to instantly forget everything he'd just learned.
Do I like this car? Well, yes, I do. I love the 600 brake horsepower that it's giving me at the rear wheels and the whine of the twin superchargers. But would I buy one? I'm not so sure. I think I'd probably stick with my 550 Maranello. But if you want the quintessential English gentleman's coupe, then there's probably nothing finer than this V600.
Quite impressive, really. I'm just glad his day job pays well. Otherwise, he'd be after mine.
And when you can do things like this, if you can afford it, buy it.
Life really couldn't get much better. I'm driving the fantastic Jaguar XKR Cabrio. I've got the sun on my face, the wind in my hair, the leather on my bottom where I like it, and all this could be yours for just £67,000.
James, is this your bank statement? I think I'm buying lunch. When did Jag want the car back?
£67,000.
You could buy a house for that, but not to worry because there are plenty of cabrios out there for less than a third of the Jag's price.
So, got a family hatchback with a silly little sunroof? For the same money, you could mess your hair up properly. The Fiat Barchetta. Now, you might think we're running this bit of film back to front. Yes, it's only available in left-hand drive, but this one's been converted. However, that can't disguise the fact that it's based on the humble mechanicals of the Punto.
Which means, of course, that it's front-wheel drive. Ooh, now, purists will tell you that that's an absolute travesty of proper sports car design. But I wouldn't let it worry you. Yes, the steering can get a bit flighty when you're pressing on really hard, but otherwise, this is just a typical bundle of small Fiat fun. And I love it. It's very stylish too, and it's got a hard cover for the hood. What a brilliant idea. All this is yours for £15,855. Pretty cheap, really. But remember, this is a small car with a small boot, so pack accordingly.
No, well, don't worry about that because I'm sending my luggage on ahead. Yes, no, that'll be fine. All right, I'll see you shortly. Thanks, bye-bye. Now, if you thought that MG stood for Oldie England and endless sunny days spent tinkering with your big end, then you should try one of these. This is a small sports car with supercar pretensions. It's mid-engined, and this range-topping model has got variable valve timing as well. The £20,670 is a bit pricey, but it's good fun. When it gets going, that is. You see, unfortunately, our JD Power survey revealed that this car spends more time in the garage than any other. It's a good job I got that 99p socket set for Christmas then, hey?
Alternatively, you could try something Japanese. Have you ever noticed how long a Mazda light bulb lasts? Hop in.
The Mazda MX-5 is a proper sports car. The engine's in the front, the driving wheels are at the back. It's agile, it's pointable, and from outside, it looks the biz.
Okay, so putting the tonneau on is like trying to write your name in Japanese. And the interior is a little bit on the dull side, but to be honest, I can always think of something much better to look at.
Yes, like the mystery and wonder of God's creation.
This is a top-of-the-range 1.8, but the 1.6 is just £15,520. Bargain!
Now, do you want to play in the mud or sit in the sun? Well, Land Rover reckons you can do both with the Freelander Softback. This is a pucker off-roader built by the experts, and it's pretty good on-road as well. But I have a complaint.
This car costs £16,570. If I had bought it, I'd want a refund. This isn't a convertible. It's a Land Rover with a tent on the back and a couple of glass panels. The good news is, though, it's got 4 seats. So, if there's a sudden British downpour, it's all hands on deck to erect the awning. Complicated's not the word!
Well, yes, it rains a lot in Britain. And here's another possibly related fact. Lots of people have children. But if your offspring are costing you a fortune, don't worry, because 4-up convertible family fun starts at just £15,489. With this, the Fiat Punto Cabriolet. Now, this borders on being a comedy motor car. Your neighbours may laugh at you. Let them. Because when the single stalkless flower of the sun hangs in the inverted blue bowl of the sky, its champion, the Punto's perfect for just, well, putting about.
Renault have given the Megane a facelift, but apart from the front, which now smiles inanely at you, it looks pretty much the same. I do, and I always have, like these speedster-inspired humps. And under the humps lurks a very good hood. Raise this roof, in fact, and you've got a car that's almost as good as a tin top. But of course, you don't want the roof up, you want the roof down. The only problem then is that it exposes the dullest interior this side of Kidderminster. But what's it like to drive? Let's find out. Well, the steering's a bit floppy and the gear change's a bit obstructive, but it has got an eager engine. If I sound a bit uninspired, that's because I am for £17,900. I can think of better ways to ruin your hairdo.
Ooh, the VW Golf, that old chestnut. I'm suddenly feeling all grown up. Hang on, I am grown up. That'll be why I like the Golf's tasteful exterior styling and these crisp, high-quality interior fittings. But it's beginning to look a bit like a modern classic rather than the trendsetter that it once was. It's based on an old-shaped Golf. Look at the size of the stowed hood. Looks like somebody dumped an old mattress on there while I was in the deli. This is the 1.6 SE. It will cost Quentin £18,025 of his pounds. It's expensive, but it feels worth it. Not as stylish as it was then, but it still has substance. And people say that about me.
Really? Now, the French used to like nothing better than chopping heads off, and this tradition continues with the Peugeot 306 Decapitable. This is a cabrio for sun worshippers and driving enthusiasts alike. Fine handling with good meaty steering. And this drop top is also drop-dead gorgeous.
So why is this French car so pretty?
Because the French had nothing to do with it. It's the work of Pininfarina, Italians.
This pretty pug has the most sophisticated hood here. It's fully electric and it's got a cover, so you won't spoil those pretty Italian lines and you won't need your nail file, love. However, that sophistication comes at a price. This is the most expensive of our chopped hatchbacks.
£20,470.
But I can't believe they spent any of that money on the dash.
And I can't believe it's not wood.
I reckon that this is the best full-size cabrio in our group. For a snip over 20 grand, you get style, panache, and what looks like real walnut. Gets my vote.
But not mine. I only seem to need 2 seats, as I hope to make clear in a minute. So I'm going to go for the small Mazda. It's the second cheapest car here, and it's still the most fun. But remember, whatever you choose, cabrios are cool. So now, as they're always saying in car magazines at this time of year, let's go topless. What do you say, Julia?
I agree. I like to end on a cliché.